Hey, hey, party people, it's Cliff. And it is not a weekday, it is the weekend. And that means we're going to go to work. It's all good. Every now and again, there'll be some weekend work that is necessary in order to get a project done. Oh, look at this, an Acura Type S. Oh, it's a white one. Right outside the door. They look nice, but man, are they $50,000 nice? They are a sought-after car. I'll let this lady go. She's on her walk. She's doing her thing. Yeah. Type S looks nice. But I don't know. I enjoy the Hondas. I think the Hondas, Toyotas, and those are the cars you need to build wealth. Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. Oh my gosh, it's so bright. No other cars coming? Okay. We'll go. We'll start going. There's another Honda in front of us. Yeah, last night when I was coming home, it was a bit late. And there was this, must have been an Aston Martin or an AMG or one of those like fancy cars, but it had a really nice paint job, blue sheen on it. I've also seen one of the classic NSXs out here. I also saw a GTR, what was it, the Nissan Skyline GTR, like an R34 or R30, is it an R34 or 33, one of those. And they're nice cars. If that's your thing, totally cool. But eventually, you realize that some things are just not your thing. And I realize, just looking at them, and they're nice, and I've driven a couple of them before, but I just don't want to take care of I just don't want to take care of any of them. Oh, what's all this construction going on? We need to get there to the workplace to make sure that things are going. Oh man, you got a bike rider guy here. We got a guy slamming on his brakes. We got some cones in the road. Man, we got all sorts of drama this morning. Must be some sort of power lines are down or something. I don't know. But I don't know. With cars are great. But man, the upkeep on them, they do take a lot of time. And I guess the whole conversation sparked this morning because my dad sent me I had an old 2006 V6 Honda Accord, 4-door, nice car, loved it. Gave it to my dad and my parents. Ah, yes, delightful. The Honda Prologue in front of us, fully electric. Based on a GMC platform, but I wouldn't get one. But anyway, they gave it to my folks because they needed a car. I kept good maintenance on it. And then he texted me, he's like, the mechanics are saying they're going to need a new catalytic converter. Not stolen or anything, they just need a new one, replace all the parts, and it's going to be like $3,000. And I'm like, the car's not even worth $3,000. And I'm sitting there like, catalytic converters just don't go bad. They don't. Like, usually the reason why the people steal the catalytic converters is the metals in them. Maybe it has titanium or something in it. But they steal it for those like rare metals, and those metals do their reaction. But I don't know. Like, I don't think it seems very suspicious to me. Especially when the cost of repairing a car is going to be more than the car itself. It's like, why even do it? And the question is, like, it just passed emissions, a couple months ago, and now they're not, now it's, emissions are being checked again, or not what it is. it just passed emissions a couple months ago, and I'm telling my dad, like, just drive it until you gotta get it checked for emissions next year, and then see what happens. Oh man, it is a cold morning, and I got a dry throat, and whatever. It's one of those things. I suppose the other sort of message, right? Because it's a Saturday, and every so often, you got to go into Saturday for work. It's a 6-day work week, but luckily, like the place that I work for, they're like, oh yeah, well, this is a critical time that we need to do things. Now we can, now next week or the week after, you can take a break, take some days off. So it's a trade-off. It's fine. But yeah, this is what happens when you only get 6 hours of sleep. But I don't know, those the mechanics with the catalytic converters, that's suspect to me. I mean, but also too, like, I don't blame the mechanics, because the mechanics, those guys, like, they are diagnosing a whole a whole breadth of problems with all the different cars that are coming in. So you gotta check, you gotta check the codes, and then you gotta, see what is the best, possibility to fix the car. And I guess it all goes to show you that, people spend 20 minutes debating whether, eggs are $2 or, to buy eggs at $2 or buy eggs at $3. But when you're signing on the dotted line for a car, that's gonna, like, nobody does any research. But I don't know. You just gotta like the of all the stuff in your world, like your car, your home, family and kids, there's only so much that you can do before you have to make enough money so that other services can do it, can help you can do it for you. And it's one of those things where, the mechanic guys, like, you just gotta double check. I feel like you gotta double check their homework. It's like, okay, all right, that's what you're telling me, no problem. Here's a $60 diagnostic fee or $100 diagnostic fee, or some of them do it for free, and then you kind of like wait and see, because you're the one that spends the most time with your car. And you're the one that's gonna, like, know and keep tabs with everything. You're the one that's gonna, like, blow your nose in it. That's how I see it. But at the end of the day, well, look, I had a 94 Accord long ago, and sometimes I would get in and it would start, and sometimes I got in and it would not start. And I was like, that's really interesting. Couldn't figure out why. It would go for like weeks, or even a couple weeks, a couple days, and then all of a sudden, like, I would get out and it would not start, and then it would start. And I'm like, whoa, what is happening? And then, I got stuck at a few places, and then the car wouldn't start. But see, the thing is, it would crank over, so it had battery. And it wasn't the ignition. And I took it to the Honda. They said, oh, it's the ignition switch. And well, they switched out the ignition switch. Everything worked for about 2 months, and then the problem started coming up again. So after a while, I remember I went to the bank, parked in the parking lot, and it was a summer day, which is also key. It was, all of the things happened in the summer, and I found this out later. So I go to the bank and I try to start the car wouldn't start. And what was interesting is that when the car did start, because on the Hondas you have two key clicks, right? You have the first click, which like turns on a little bit of the battery, maybe the radio, and then the second one primes all the ignitions and all of the systems in order to start the car. So you click it to the second one, and then I noticed something. I noticed that when the car started, there was a small hum. And then when the car did not start, that hum was not there. And so I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is interesting. Why is this hum? What is this hum? And why is it happening when the car starts and when it doesn't start? Well, it turns out that the hum was coming from the back, and the fuel tank is in the back. And so I was like, oh, it's the fuel pump. The fuel pump must be shoddy, And I'm like, well, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Because the fuel pump is like, if the fuel pump is, having troubles, then when I would start the car and when I'm driving the car would automatically shut off. And that wasn't the case. So I was like, all right, well, sometimes, so basically what was happening is it wasn't the fuel pump. And so what other like fuel system things you like make an educated guess? And it turned out to be the fuel pump regulator. And the fuel pump regulator, I found out, is that over time, the regulator switch itself breaks down, and when it gets very hot, what is this idiot doing? Oh. Hey, so this bump right here, oh my gosh, look at all these people with their bumps. That bump right there is a thing in this street. It's like a water drain. And like, if you go over that too fast, you are fucking up your car. And that guy just fucked up his brand new Iconic 5. See him pulling in there? Good job, buddy. But back to the issue, it was the fuel pump regulator, and the fuel pump regulator would not activate its switch when it was too hot out. And then after I sort of learned that, I'm like, oh, that's exactly the issue, exactly the problem. What would happen is that if you're driving the car for a long time, or if it's a hot summer day and you turn the car off and then you try to turn the car on, it wouldn't start. And so, all going back to it, the problem was the fuel pump regulator. It wasn't the ignition, it wasn't the fuel pump, it wasn't the fuel pump lines or anything else wrong with the car. It was a simple $20 switch. And you could only figure that out. And it didn't show up in the engine codes or any of that, but you could only figure that out if you spent enough time with it, with the car, in order to realize that this was like the one component that was doing all the things. And mechanics just don't have that kind of time. Nothing wrong with them. And so going back to this catalytic converter stuff, I'm just like, I'm gonna tell him, my dad's just like, don't do it. Just don't do it. Just keep driving the car. Drive it till it goes in the ground. We'll get a new Honda or whatever, which are pretty good, pretty reliable, or a Toyota. Most reliable cars out there. Your fancy BMWs, but just like that guy who had his, fancy, Mercedes or whatever the hell it is. I guarantee you he better have leased that car and not bought it, because that's what because any cars that are like over that price, you just gotta like, you can't. I don't know. People spend their money on dumb shit. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, like those solutions, and I guess that's why you gotta just like mechanics know a lot more than you. They've been working they've been working with cars, 8 hours a day for, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week. And they're going to see a lot more problems than you are, a lot more things. Just like me, I work with software. I work with editing software, and when errors come up, I'm like, oh, I've seen that error before. Or there's a process in order to like fix those. So you as a consumer, you don't just want to blindly believe somebody, but you want to take their word and say like, all right, I believe you're telling the truth. I gotcha. I'm going to check, and then if like, if the research and the checking stuff that I do is like compatible and like makes sense, then yeah, like have them do the work, or if you want to save like $3,000, do the work yourself. like I might do, when I go visit my dad and or my folks, this Christmas. So that's it. Just double check your work, double check somebody else's work. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, they are the expert, but the experts might not have the amount of time needed in order to verify the actual problem that's going on with with your car or with any other problem. But that's it. That's all I got. I'm at work, so I'll catch you later. Be safe out there. Bye.